The one-on-ones are the standard questions of how would you grade your OKR? What is your team crushing at? How can I be helpful? And then hot topics. But I actually think the most telling questions are the top two. So the first is, what's your energy? Red, yellow, green. And then how would you grade your execution? Red, yellow, green. Because I think both of those questions, especially in like a remote global team where you're not in office every day, give you the best indicator on how your critical leader is feeling and helps you understand where execution is falling down and how on track are we to hit the goals that are within their domain. Because very rarely is someone on track for like a great product launch, a great closing of a sales deal, and then they're red on energy and red on execution. How we perceive our work is the input to our outcomes. I think for me, it gives me the greatest indicator where I can support in diagnosing how likely are we to achieve our goals. I'm pretty formatted in how I do one-on-ones. And one of the key questions is, what's your perspective on your team's execution quality? Red, yellow, green. I'm a big fan of binary questions because I think it forces clarity. And like, how are your big three rocks going? And so I think between the weekly staff meeting, the one-on-ones, it really supports consistent alignment and reflection. And are we all seeing the world the same way?
So when you think about a 20-minute or 30-minute or 60-minute one-on-one, where does most of the time end up spent along sort of that framework that you outlined?
I do 30-minute one-on-ones because I do them weekly. I think about 5 to 10 minutes get spent on the first two questions. The what your team is crushing at, I read asynchronously, but it's also to remind leaders that their team is crushing at things. You know, it's too easy to look for the problems. And so that question is almost for them and not for me. And then depending on how the key goals are trending and how they grade them, we may spend a couple minutes on them or very little. And then I think we generally spend about 15 minutes on the hot topics.
And hot topics are just a catch-all basket of...
Yeah, it's generally, I'm concerned on our new calculation for CAC. Great, let's talk through that. How can I be helpful? We're hiring for this role. What's your take on it? This is how I'm thinking about it. We need to narrow scope on this feature set. So it is a catch-all. But I think the beginning format creates focus and gives me a really good line of sight into how is this leader doing and how do they perceive their work? And when they grade their execution and likelihood to hit their goals, what is it amounting to?